Hello, cuties. How's everybody doing today? Gosh, this stream hasn't been even going for 5 minutes, and Maddie is already streaking. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Maddie, for a 20 stream streak. That is wild. Wild and crazy. And how are you doing this evening, Maddie? Sorry, I got excited. It's okay, we're all excited now. So it's more than 20, but that's whatever. The streak thing is weird because, like with wits, I think I'm at like 15 or something, but it says I'm at 10, even though I haven't really missed one for a while. But I think you have to be there for like a certain minimum amount of time. Like, I don't even know. Because you're usually here for all of my streams for mostly the entirety. But even I am tired. I had to go to work at job today. You know, it's so funny because I was thinking about, like, you know, we finished Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. And, yesterday, when I was installing a bunch of... Because I have a bunch of games on Steam and GOG and stuff like that. Because I mentioned yesterday that I got that 2TB external hard drive. So I can finally, like, download my games and stuff. But it's so funny, I installed the Castlevania Advance Collection, which has, like, the 3 GBA games, Aria of Sorrow, Harmony of Dissonance, and Circle of the Moon. And, like, I installed that, and I just immediately started playing through Aria of Sorrow again. While all my other games were installing. Can't get enough of that. Such sweet sorrow. I almost didn't stream today because I'm just, like, super duper tired, but I refuse to not at least do 3 days. I'm excited. Hopefully my capture card and another bonus something I got for myself, which is a new controller for PC and Switch. Hopefully all that should be here tomorrow. Of course, I'm not 100% sure what I'll, like, stream with that from, like, my Switch or PS4 or PS5 or whatever. I guess I'll decide when it gets here. But I'm still gonna, like, make sure I finish up the games that we are working on and all that stuff. Okay, I do have Moonpie with me. The creature has appeared. Looking forward to whenever games, those are going to be a lot. Just every games. Moonpie looks delighted. Yay! Dot is literally in here, like, meowing at me and like slapping my shoulder because I'm leaning forward. Because I got the mic set up on that little folding table I mentioned before. And she's like annoyed because I won't lean back so she can sit on my lap and make biscuits on my titties or something. Trying to shiny hunt Cobalion. Even at the level 3 Sparkle, it's been a while, stuck in hyperspace for a long time. Ow, 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 that hurts, that's on my leg. Okay, really trusts me. Okay, let's see if we can get Clefairy level up and see if she'll evolve into Clefairy. I am really happy that I finished the ZA main story for the DLC. But, like, there's still a lot of gaps in the Pokédex, and I don't know if it's just bad luck or what, but I cannot, like, I can't seem to get new stuff to show up in the hyperspace. I'm missing, like, half of the DLC decks. Homegirl, what are you even doing? It takes a long time to get things to appear. Are you doing time resets? No, I'm not really trying to do anything fancy like that. I'm just kind of letting the game do what it wants. Kitten, what are you doing? Give me a minute. Well, she is now taking up 80% of the table I put up. Crawled into a... somehow contorting her body to take up almost the entire table and licking her ass. But the controller I ordered is the, Game Seer. I think it's Aginaria Lite. It's a wired controller, but it kind of has, like, a PS4 kind of design. And she's... Okay, I'm gonna have to put you outside, Ken. You are being way too rambunctious. I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, I am very excited for the new controller, especially because, like I said, it has like a PS4 style layout, so that means like the D-pad is pretty big and prominent. Since I tend to play a lot of 2D games on my PC. Cole, hi! How are you doing today on this lovely Sunday evening? We're playing some Pokemon Crystal. Thus far, we're mostly doing our normal berry run, though it looks like Moonpie might just be close enough to her friendship to evolve into a Clefairy. Sorry, I'm hypnotized by that spinning emote. Like, the second I have an office chair, that's gonna be me. Oh, hey, it's Santos. Or Sunny, I'm sorry. Monica, Tuscany, Wesley, Arthur, Frida, and Santos. They're all older than me. Doing well, watching One Piece and playing 14, Final Fantasy 14? Me mostly vibing in chat. You know, it's weird, even as much as, like, Final Fantasy is one of my, like, big hyperfixations, I just haven't ever really messed with 14. I don't think it's a bad game or anything. Part of it is, like, I try to stay away from MMOs and games that continually update. But I also know it's like almost like the Smash Brothers of Final Fantasy, where like all the new things they add are always like, ooh, this is a reference to 6, this is a reference to 7, this is a reference to 9, this is a reference to 4. Moonpie evolution time, it's Clefairy time, Vivi! Like she does the little metronome finger waggle. Double slap. Alright, let's check out that tax. Though rarely seen, it becomes easier to spot for some reason on the night of a full moon. Gotta do a raid to get Van's outfit. I love Final Fantasy XII. I haven't actually finished 12. Mostly, like, I love it. It's just ADHD reasons, executive dysfunction reasons. The reasons I haven't finished a lot of games I own, unfortunately. Hey, let's do our Pokemon TCG pack pulls, since it's time right now. Speaking of ADHD, let's see what we got. Let's go ahead and do Crimson Blaze, the newest set. I have all of the Silver Diamond tier cards, but I'm trying to pull for the full arts to get some of the secret missions. Let's see, we got Houndoom, Baniri, Ariados, Basculin, Furfrou. Okay, so that's all just regular cards this time. Okay, back to Crystal. Oh, that's right. I remember the reason I actually pulled out my phone now. Teehee, got distracted. I was gonna go ahead and check Cerebi to check Clefairy's move list. I want to see what level I want to evolve it into Clefable, because with the older games, whenever you evolve a stone Pokemon, it doesn't learn any more moves. Let's see here. Double Slap, Minimize, Defense Curl, Metronome at 34, Moonlight at 43, Light Screen at 53. We can buy Light Screen TMs, but I would like to give Moonlight. I like having a healing ability. Fighting evil by moonlight. Ooh, okay. Let's go ahead and go to the back, as I think I should have one of this TM. If not, we'll just go buy one of Goldenrod real quick. Okay, now give me a second. Off to Goldenrod we go! Goldenrod. Go ahead and grab this berry over here while we're here. You know, the Ice Berry curing Burn and the Burnt Berry curing Freeze makes sense, like, logically, but I still always get it confused in my head. You know, Final Fantasy XII is, like, one of those games where, like, it's so open and the areas are so big and it looks so, like, graphically and artistically well done, that it's, like, one of those things where I kind of forget that it was originally made for the PS2. Like, I know they, like, updated some stuff with the models on the, like, Zodiac Age and PS4 Switch versions and stuff like that, but it's not that much different. It's really impressive just how much they pulled off on the PlayStation 2. Then again, I've always felt like the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 just came out a bit too early. Like, they could have waited a few more years, because, like, both of them had a lot of hardware problems at launch, and honestly, I feel both were pretty expensive for what they were. Criminal Returns. Because I think the OG Xbox and the PS2 could have had a good 3 more years in them and still given us really cool stuff. But then again, I also do understand, like, every generation from the PlayStation 3 and 360 onward has been, like, 7 or 8 or 10 years instead of 5. Because games used to come out so fast for, like, 16 and 32-bit consoles, and, you know, tech in general was advancing so fast in the 90s and 2000s. But it's like, it's weird how short some of these games' lifespans are. Or game systems' lifespans were. TM's at the 5th floor? Icy punch. Ow. A fuzzy headbutt. Go on. This cat has no chill. Let's go ahead and put it over double slap. Oh wait, boop. Go ahead and put Musketeers in the front row for a sec. Because you can actually get a return TM every single Sunday if you bring a Pokemon with high enough friendship. If you bring a Pokemon that, like, just completely fucking hates your ass, you can get a frustration TM. But unless you specifically go out of your way to do it, it's actually a lot harder to make a Pokemon hate you than it is to make one love you. Don't headbutt the microphone! God. She is headbutting the controller while I'm trying to video my game. You are problematic. Ugh. Dot is feeling better, though. She hasn't been sneezing and stuff as much. Which I guess is good, but you've been acting rambunctious all the time. You know, I know it's been like a running thing for a while, and it doesn't bother me in ZA in particular, but one thing I've always kind of like not super been a fan of with like from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire onward is them trying to kind of have your other player character be like a pseudo rival or something. Because if you think about it in the traditional sense, the actual rival character from like Ruby and Sapphire is more Wally. But I just feel like he doesn't really get that much screen time. Like, not as much as he should. Like, I know when I was younger and I first played through the game, I thought Wally was, like, super present, but there's, like, 3 fights with him, counting the one at the Victory Road. I mean, I do love Wally's entire arc of going from, like, the hurt, sickly kid to being, like, an Elite Four contender and stuff like that. Actually, like, if they ever made Hoenn sequels that took place, like, 4 or 5 years later or something like that, I think it would be awesome if Wally was, like, the Hoenn champion. Or on the Elite Four or something. Because generally, like, it seems that most times the player characters doesn't really stay on as acting champion. Because I guess, like, in Gold, Silver, Crystal, Red pretty much deferred the title to just continue adventuring. A deposit in my apricorns, and what I'm doing is I'm gonna sing a little song about how I want to get out my sound slash so I can use cut, and I don't want to forget that and stay here and stare at the PC box for like a minute straight, not remembering what I was doing. So I'm singing a little song about getting the sand slash, getting my sand slash out of the box so I can go cut a bush and get some apricorns. Gotta get my sand slash, gotta get my sand slash, gotta get my sand slash out of the box. Ah! She literally jumped up on my chest to push me backwards so she could start biscuit making on my stomach. You got anything to say for yourself, you little criminal? I don't think you know how to cat properly. I think you just saw those cats on the internet and without looking up any instructions, you're just trying to do what they do. Amateur cat. See, this is why I don't work with amateurs. She's just neurodivergent. I guess... What is it, like, pets are attracted to owners that have similar qualities to them or something? Say owners. Companions. I don't know, owner is one of those things that, like, kinda never really sat well with me. I mean, legally, they're within your care, but, I mean, you don't own your child.
Hello, Tully here. It's a great night for fishing. Picked up a good little thing at the water's edge. And as I promised, it's yours. I'll be waiting at Route 42.
You gotta remember to go get the thing from Tully. I use carer or caretaker. Owner feels weird to me too. Okay, so it's not just me. Caregiver, I don't know, caregiver has, like, I feel like weird social baggage, at least in the English language. Because caregiver and caretaker aren't really the same. Because to me, caregiver feels like you're one of those people who, like, professionally takes care of, like, dying old sick people or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, that's a profession I don't think I would ever have the mental or spiritual fortitude to do. So, like, I have a lot of respect for people who actually can do that and put forth the effort. But... Legal guardian Yan. Well, I'm not her legal guardian. She's an outside cat. She's a stray cat who lives outside and is not my cat. Illegal guardian. It's because she's a criminal. Yeah, exactly. She is a criminal after all. Forceful self-adoption. No, don't deposit the thing I just took out. See, I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna play when I, reverse kidnapping. Isn't that just Garnet from Final Fantasy IX, though?
Ah, Mats, I just finished your ball, here.
Gurunaku, Happy New Year! How are you doing on this wonderful... Well, it's Sunday evening for you, it's probably Sunday evening for me, probably Monday morning for you. We're just playing some Pokemon Crystal, chilling, hanging out. Chilling out with my crew in the schoolyard. I have like a whole joke, but I don't know if anybody's actually watched Yu-Gi-Oh! GX to get it. Been good. Hope everyone's been welcomed to the new year kindly. Well, I mean, yeah, I got to Steam and I got some cool stuff coming in. I actually got a external hard drive for my computer, so I can download a lot more of my Steam games because I was running really low on hard drive space. So that's exciting, and hopefully tomorrow I've got a AverMedia capture card coming, so I should be able to hook up like my PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox, and all that stuff, and whatever else has HDMI, and like stream it to you guys directly. And I also have a cool new controller for PC and Switch. Oh my god, looking forward to it, yay! I mean, it makes it a lot easier for me in a lot of ways. I don't have to worry about, oh, does this have a Steam version, and like... Or instead of having to like buy a game again, I can just hook up my PS4 or my Switch or whatever and just play it on the loud. That and there are a lot of like... So I got my PC pre-built in 2020, even though it was kind of a 2019 machine because I got it on clearance. But I mean, it's been fantastic. It still runs most games really well, and I can run a lot of stuff from like PS4 and Xbox One era at like high settings. But I just don't have enough RAM in my PC to run stuff that's made for like PS5 and Series X and stuff. And I sure as hell ain't gonna be buying any more RAM now. Just download more RAM, 5-head. Though, to be honest, I am not a fan of opening up a PC and, like, building it and all that stuff. I feel like I'm gonna, I don't know, secretly press the self-destruct button or something. It'll be like the super subtle self-destruct button, so it'll always almost work and then just fail with no reasoning. Frozen Owl. One thing I love with Gold, Silver, and Crystal is just the fact that you can just teach everything like Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Fire Punch. Because one thing I feel like Typhlosion really loses out on with Heart Gold and Soul Silver is like if you start with Cyndaquil and Gold, Silver, Crystal, you can get Thunder Punch for Typhlosion. And that gives it a lot of versatility, and since in, generations 1 through 3, a type, whether it's physical or special, is decided by the type, not what the move does. But yeah, it creates all kinds of weird nonsense like Bite and Thunder Punch being special attacks, or Hyper Beam being physical and stuff like that. But it's really good for Typhlosion because that means it has a 75 power electric attack that uses its higher stat. Well, the criminal has finally settled down and made herself comfortable with the position I'm sitting in. I have to hold my mic in my hand, because I can't lean forward onto my table. So I am playing the game with one hand. This isn't usually the reason I play games with one hand. Also, since I don't yet have a Switch too, a lot of, newer games and stuff I've been buying PS5 versions of. The cat nap, she's literally napping on me, so I guess so. But one really wonderful thing with a lot of Square Enix's PS5 releases is almost all of them in the last, 2 years or so have had the option to switch confirm to the circle button. Which is somebody who's who plays on Nintendo most of the time is very nice. Also, someone who grew up with Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid and etc, etc. And confirm being on the circle button just makes more sense anyway. Guys, I can't play the game with both hands. I'm petting my pussycat. This pussy goes crazy. Okay, I have my mic in the most jank possible positions where I don't have to hold it. Shit. Yeah, in Generation 1 through 3, if your Pokemon's poisoned while you're walking like this, it will actually faint if its HP gets to 0. That's from, Generations 4 through 6, 7, I think. Your Pokemon will still take damage on the field when it's poisoned, but it won't actually faint. It'll get to 1 HP and then it'll, fight through the poison. And the poison will wear off, but your Pokemon will be left with 1 HP. But I think from like Generation 8 onward, it's just like, it doesn't affect anything out in the field. And she is no longer napping. That was the shortest nap I have ever seen. That was like 6 minutes. Fucking Majin Buu-ass speed napping. Give me a moment. I'm gonna try to give her some food and put her outside. Okay, hopefully the criminal has been abated. I think coughing evolves at level 38. I know it's pretty high up there. Coughing. I guess you guys get a free random fun fact, but in the English version of Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, Roxy sings her little songs like P-O-K-E-M-O-N, Pokemon. But in the Japanese version specifically, she actually spells out Dogars, which is coughing's Japanese name. Dogasu. And it's level 35. So Malted is almost there. Also, Roxy's placement in the anime was really interesting. Because Ash's gym battles in the Black and White seasons, like Best Wishes, kind of combined Black and White's gyms with Black 2 and White 2's. Granted, the Black and White seasons, like, they had so many rewrites due to real-world disasters, it's actually kind of depressing. So, like, the story had to be, like, swerved and rewritten quite a few times. But, Ash ends up fighting Roxy as, I think, the 7th or 8th gym leader. So, you know, instead of being an early gym leader like she actually is in Black 2 and White 2, for Ash, she's, like, super late with powerful Pokemon. And...
Hey, there you are. Here's a gift, as I promised.
Waterstone, let's freaking go.
You're hearing from me if I find something good.
But no, like, Roxy's ace Pokemon in Best Wishes is her coughing, and it like bodies like 2 of Ash's Pokemon, and the 3rd Pokemon barely defeats it. And it's so funny, after like the first, gosh, like 6 seasons of Pokemon, you know, coughing and wheezing along with Ekans and Arbok just always getting their butts kicked effortlessly by any Pokemon of the day. It was honestly pretty awesome to see a coughing, you know, actually getting to kick some butt in the anime. I feel like some of it does go to, you know, something I mentioned before about, like, the Kanto and Johto seasons especially always kind of felt a little bit like it was written by people who had documentation but never really played the games. Granted, like, the early versions of the Pokemon anime weren't really meant to be, you know, they didn't think that, oh, this is gonna be some long-running series with, like, all these different regions or anything. It was just like, yo, let's do a quick tie-in to a video game that came out. Because I know it may be, like, preposterous to think of this now, but, like, in the 90s and stuff, Nintendo of America was actually not particularly sure that, Pokemon was gonna be popular outside of Japan. They thought maybe of not releasing it, like, in the US. But they said that Soul Silver would be the final installment, wasn't meant to go past Gen 2. That's kind of true-ish. It was more that, like... Okay, because keep in mind, Red and Blue came out in 1996, and the original plan was to have Gold and Silver come out in 97, and actually be called, like, Pokemon 2, and then that was going to kind of wrap everything up. Because... you know, like, everyone at Game Freak was kind of figuring, oh, you know, the fad's gonna die down, and then we'll just move on to whatever else. It was cool that we got this thing that became this big. But, like, by the time Gold and Silver actually released, you know, 99 in Japan, 2000 in North America, they were very definitely sure that there was going to be, like, more beyond that. Though Red, Blue, and Yellow, Gold, and Silver, and Crystal, like the Gen 1 and Gen 2 games, were the only games with the direct involvement of Satoshi Tajiri, the original creator. He still oversaw stuff for later games and still stays involved, but, like, these were the 2 where he actually had the creative input.
Good evening, Mots. It's me, Wade. Were you awake? I found all kinds of berries. If you want, I'll share some with you. I'll be waiting on Route 31.
So it's like yes and no, like Satoshi Tajiri's involvement didn't really go past Gen 2. But I mean, like, when you created Pokemon, you probably don't need to work again for the rest of your life. But then again, like, Tajiri is a very reclusive, like, not social individual whatsoever. He's very definitely neurodivergent, even though, like, the era he grew up in, you know, like, people didn't really know about stuff like that or acknowledge mental illness or anything. They just said, oh, you know, this guy's quirky, this girl's a little weird. I mean, honestly, I think that's why Generation 4 was so rough. It's just because I feel like prior to Black and White, the series was really trying to find its creative direction. Because in a lot of ways, Ruby and Sapphire are like... not exactly a reboot in the modern sense, but they were kind of like a soft reset on the series. Especially because, like, I don't think anybody in my chat is really old enough to have remembered this, but, like, there was a lot of discourse around Ruby and Sapphire, and a lot of people who were, like, big into Pokemon with Gen 1 and 2 just dropped off. I remember a lot of people saying that they didn't want to have to buy a Game Boy Advance to buy a whole new system just to play Pokemon. And a lot of people kind of wanted a GBA anyway, but then they didn't want to play it when they realized that their Pokemon from Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal couldn't transfer over. And the fact that you couldn't transfer the Pokemon, plus there were only 67 returning Pokemon, LOL, out of the 200 that were in Ruby and Sapphire, a lot of people just assumed they were just cutting old Pokemon forever. Because, keep in mind, when Ruby and Sapphire were first coming out, there was no indication that there would be Fire Red and Leaf Green. There was no indication that there would be Colosseum. Oh yeah, I love Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald. They're amazing. They're, like, among my favorite games in the series. I'm just saying there was a lot of discourse when they were first coming out because a lot of people, like, believe it or not, it was worse. The Ruby Sapphire discourse was worse than the Dexit discourse from Sword and Shield. Because, like, Ruby and Sapphire was when it became, like, uncool to like Pokemon. Of course, you have to also remember that, like, the main first wave Pokemania was kind of coming to a close with around the time Crystal came out. Because, like, Crystal is one of the least selling games in the entire series. And also it coincided that, like, with the way that Pokemon, like I said, it didn't stop being popular or anything, but a lot of the people who were, like, getting out of Pokemon after, you know, Gold and Silver had kind of, you know, with Ruby and Sapphire coming out, it was just right at the time when Yu-Gi-Oh! First started premiering in North America. So a lot of people just jumped to, you know, being Yu-Gi-Oh fanatics instead, especially like since the monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh were a little edgier and darker and stuff like that. Which, you know, it's laughing going back to that a bunch of like middle school and early high schoolers, you know, hyping up Yu-Gi-Oh when I know the, you know, the original manga is like this freaking horror series with like freaking fucked up body horror and shit. Like I said, even the Japanese version of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime is tame compared to the manga. That said, I really would love to play some classic Yu-Gi-Oh games on Steam, but I'm not sure which ones. I mean, personally, like, growing up, I had Sacred Cards, Stairway to the Destined Duel, Seven Trials to Glory, and then I had, like, Falsebound Kingdom on GameCube. The creator went into the Shadow Realm in Okinawa. I mean, it breaks my heart that Kazuki Takahashi passed away, especially at such a young age. I think he was only like 60. But, like, dude, this is a shonen manga writer who... he didn't just write about amazing heroes, he was one, in real life. Like, the mother and child would have died if he wasn't there. And it's like, it breaks my heart that he's gone. Because, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! The manga is so close to my heart and means the world to me. And, you know, it's like, I never really got to go to a convention or meet him, or even, like, I don't know, even though he never would have remembered, he would have been, oh, that's really good, or something. You know, I almost, like, always wish I could have shown him some of my art or something, because, at least for a couple seconds, he would have known I exist, you know? And it hurts, like, me personally, but, like, he saved someone else's life without a second thought. In full honesty, I don't know how many times Okinawans are warned tourists not to explore the Okinawa waters because it's very unpredictable. I don't want to fault any of the victims, but it's really heartbreaking how it ended up like that, yeah. From what I understand on the things, at least from what I've read, is that, like, he really liked to go diving in those waters specifically. And, like, he knew the dangers. But again, it's like, it's not like something happened by accident. He probably could have survived, but he went out of his way to save the woman and the child and stuff that were in danger because of those very waters. Give me a sec. Had to take a moment to cut a worthless object. But hey, I guess that adds to my overall viewer count? I don't know, like, those bots that are like, oh, get more viewers at whatchamacallit.com. It's like, why? I mean, like, sure, more people watching my stream would be fun, but I would like to have viewers that want to be here. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's one way to look at it, yeah. You're in Haze. Hey, hey! Let's put it over Smog. Honestly, there are a lot of things about classic games I wish there was a way to easily show you guys, because even, like, some of the stuff like capturing it on camera doesn't capture what it really looks like in person. Because, like, the dithering patterns and stuff used on the Pokemon sprites in this game, on, like, an actual Game Boy Color, it looks really clean and really nice. In general, like, if you can get it, obviously you need a good light source nearby, but a lot of Game Boy Color games just look super clean on their original screen. It's like super crisp, super clean. It's night and day if you've ever played like a Game Boy Pocket or the original big brick Game Boy with the green screen, green tinted screen. Because like with those games, everything's a little smeary to actually play on original, like the original screen. But, like, even old, non-color Game Boy games just look so crisp and clean on a Game Boy Color. I remember for Failed Chips, we'd go to the aquarium and the stingers on those fish is engraved in my mind because they had those puppets that would demonstrate how they attack you. Iente. Face the power of friendship from my balls. Damn it. Daddy Entei didn't want anything to do with my balls. His papa, he kidnapped a woman to be mommy. You know, when I was young, I thought like the Pokemon 3, the Entei one, I thought it was like the lamest movie. But like when I grew up and I watched it again maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, holy shit, this hits really hard as an adult. I mean, I legitimately don't know how I would react to watching the movie right now, just after actually losing my mom. I remember being uncomfortable by it. Like, I understood the entire situation was odd, because it was done without consent. I wouldn't particularly say the movie made me uncomfortable. Like, I mean, that part, yeah, but it's like everything's reality itself is being twisted by the very limited knowledge of it and the limited knowledge and limited understanding of the world of a child. Also, if you haven't watched that movie in English, it's worth watching just for Entei's English performance because that voice. Whew. Also, I know 4Kids has a terrible rep, but their scripting and voice acting for Pokemon is usually pretty good. Pokemon was like, it felt like the one show, at least for the first few seasons, where they actually did try to, like, actually make a good dub of a Japanese show. Interestingly, even though, once again, it's usually used as a joke at 4Kids' expense, the whole thing with the jelly donuts was actually a request from, like, the Pokemon company. because they wanted the series to be easy to understand for, like, people of any nationality watching it. The intent is pure, but as a child, you can understand it's also unfair for Ash. Oh yeah. Like, that's another part that really hits me is, like, you know, it's no secret that I love my mom very much. And, like, the whole thing about, like, fighting, you know, reality warping gods to save your mother or something like that. Yeah, absolutely would have done that. Because I don't know how it is in Japan, but I know in North America, it's really popular to have Ash as, like, people, like, use him as a punching bag to be the butt of jokes and call him a bad trainer or whatever. And it's like, I mean, maybe in season 1 or 2 or whatever, sure. But, like, from the greater majority of the show, like, one of the things is, like, that makes Ash a really good trainer is that he has empathy for his Pokemon and puts thought into how things would affect them. You know, because, like, one of the things is, like, I think I saw a short that was mentioning, oh, you know, every time Ash put Pikachu back in his Pokeball. And literally the only times Ash has ever put Pikachu back into his Pokeball was at a time when Ash thought they were both going to die, and did it to make sure Ash was the only one who would have actually died. And Pikachu would have been safe. I mean, I doubt Pokemon fans mean it when they call Ash a bad trainer. It's just funny to say it. I mean, like, Season 1 Ash, sure. But, like, Season 1 of Pokemon was also designed to be really subversive of a lot of shonen tropes. Like, as early as the first episode, you know, we got Ash saying, well, oh, I just kind of figured if I try hard enough, everything would work out. You know, if I believe, everything will work out. And then, you know, you immediately have Misty calling bullshit, like, no, everything is not going to magically work out if you just try hard enough. So it's interesting that, like, even in, like, the mid to late 90s, they were already kind of, you know, deconstructing a lot of those tropes. And the motto is to work harder, not smarter. Learn how to get better and better at doing things incorrectly until they work. Certified, we trained him wrong on purpose, as a joke moment. Builds character, you know? Hi, Wade.
Good evening, Mods. It's me, Wade. Are you awake? I found all kinds of berries. If you want, I'll share some with you. I'll be waiting on Route 31.
Dude, Wade is on that berry finding grind right now. Why do I check this every time?
Good to see you. See, this is what I found. It's for you.
The criminal returns.
Hear from me as soon as I find anything you might like.
Fun fact, I went into my little garden area and found the biggest, heaviest rock I could to block the door. And she somehow, or to block the little, like, entryway in the back of that closet so she couldn't get through. She somehow managed to move the rock. I don't know how. And frankly, I'm a little bit afraid. Get that girl into wrestling. A wrestling cat? That'd never go over well. I am once again being biscuited. And she did this while getting over an illness. Honestly, like, I feel like her stubbornness gives her super strength. My stubbornness gives me super strength. You know, I'm excited definitely about my capture card, but I'm also super excited about the controller that I ordered. I don't know, I really love controllers, you guys. Like, I could just yap about controllers all day and review them and compare them and stuff like that. It's like, I know Scott the Woz is pretty popular, and I love his main channel stuff, but I also, like, I think I more enjoy his, like, Stash, like, Scott Stash channel, because he just sits there and just yaps about a random topic, and, like, every once in a while he will land on something, like, so esoteric that I'm like, yes. Recently he did one about the death of the start and select button, and the replacements, and, like, the evolution of it, and I'm like, oh, this tickles the mouse brain, very nice. Ooh. Yo, hey, 7th, how are you doing today? On this wonderful Sunday evening, we're playing some Crystal, some grinding up the decks and chilling while a cat makes biscuits on my lap. The consoles I'm gonna use it with, well, I mean, probably everything I own that's got an HDMI output. PS4, PS5, Wii U, Switch, Xbox 360, Xbox One. Also my PS3, but I know I need to do a pass-through in order to actually get PS3 to work properly through a capture device. So that's going to be a pain in the butt, but I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. Due to the rise of PC gaming, I'm always afraid to say I prefer controllers over keyboard. Oh no, like, ironically, despite calling myself the gaming mouse, I really can't play with mouse and keyboard comfortably at all. Like, maybe if it's a visual novel game like Phoenix Wright or something, I could probably do it. But I can't, like like, Wit plays, like, Genshin Impact with keyboard and mouse, and I'm like, I could never. Not in 100,000 years. Hi, Rain. How are you doing on this lovely Sunday evening? We're grinding up the Mons in Crystal. Gaming mouse must have her controller for maximum comfort. I was asking because of the PS3 thing, you need a cheap HD... I mean, I have an HDMI splitter, but it's connected to, like, all my other consoles, so I guess I'll probably just have to... I mean, if I was a smart little squeaker, I would hook up my splitter directly to my capture device. That way I don't have to keep hooking and unhooking things, but I won't think of that. But I mean, I already have a splitter, so I could probably just hook my PlayStation 3 up to that. It's an interesting thing, though, because that's going to be something that might feel a little weird to do. Okay, my TV that I have had since 2011, that I'm using right now, has 2 component inputs, 2 HDMI inputs, and a composite input. And of course it has like an antenna input and one for like a VGA as well. See, this is one thing like modern TVs lose, is they don't have any inputs like this, and this is why I love this TV and I'm so glad it still works. Micaiah, pay attention to the moves you're clicking, please. But, it was so perfect when I first got the TV because I had 2 HDMI consoles, PS3 and 360. I had 2 main consoles I was using, with component inputs, which is my PS2 and Wii. But the thing is, the PlayStation 3 also served as the main DVD and Blu-ray player. So even though when I got more consoles later and got an HDMI splitter, I always left the PlayStation 3 specifically on HDMI number 2. That way Mom could just switch it to HDMI number 2 and not have to fuss around with clicking the little button on the splitter or anything like that to try to figure out which one it is. Or let's say if I'd unplugged the PlayStation 3 to play PS4 or Xbox or something like that, she wouldn't have to fight that. And the PlayStation 3 has just always had HDMI 2 to itself, so plugging it into the splitter is just gonna feel weird. I hate when people ask me impossible questions like, how are you and what have you been up to? Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? I mean, I can tell you, you're a little bit tired out and worn out, but mentally you're trying to feel better. And what have you been up to? You have been playing Risk of Rain, drinking tea, and thinking of ways to destroy capitalism. Setup's a mess. I mean, like, I feel like it's impossible for the setup not to be a mess unless you have, like, a huge dedicated room for it. And knows me so well. Yeah, that's the thing. Risk of Rain was just called Risk before Rain started playing it. It used to be a board game. I mean, you have me added on Steam, so you're cheating a little bit knowing what I'm playing, but still. It's great because even though it doesn't show up on the OBS capture, when any of my friends, like, start playing something on Steam, it just shows up even while I'm streaming, so I'm just like, hi Rain, I see you're playing Risk of Rain while I'm streaming. I'm kidding, you guys play whatever you want. I very much enjoy being the background noise. 9 consoles in the living room setup, it's a pain. I mean, I just need my TV to have 9 HDMI ports. I don't think that's unreasonable. Also, fun fact, one of my neighbors who, like, even though I'm not, like, super close friends, you know, like, at least a few of my neighbors have lived here in, like, the same neighborhood with me for over a decade, so I'm, like, fairly cordial with them and stuff. One of my neighbors, was getting rid of a CRT TV. Because they were changing, like, their guest bedroom setup or something. And I'm like, can I have it? And she's like, yeah, sure, you know, it has a built-in DVD player, but the DVD player doesn't work, and I'm like, I'm not worried about that part. All I said was, oh, I have a DVD player already. And she's like, oh, okay, here you go. And you see, the thing is, I was expecting it to be a piddly little, like, thing, because, like, her daughter just got old enough to, like, start college and stuff. So I was thinking, oh, you know, this is gonna be like a tiny little kid's thing with a... No, the thing is a huge CRT. And the thing is, I don't really have a place in my living room to put it, but it looks like I hooked up the Dreamcast to it. It's just kind of sitting on the floor behind my chair right now. But I hooked up the Dreamcast, and oh my god, Marvel 2 looked gorgeous on that thing. A free CRT, oh, it's not, I couldn't say no. I have nowhere to put it, but I couldn't say no. The thing is, like, anybody who's not in the gaming sphere, they treat CRTs like trash, and she was just gonna, like, leave it out. It wasn't raining at the time, but she was gonna, like, leave it out and just, you know, throw it away later, and I'm like, I'll keep it. And, like, I feel bad because I don't really have, like, anything set up to put it on, like, a stand right now or anything. Should probably see if I can get a small CRT for some of my older consoles. You see, you wouldn't think it would make a difference, but especially with 240p consoles like PlayStation 1, N64, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, like, it's amazing how much of a difference it makes, like how much crisper and cleaner these old games look, because that's the kind of display they were intended for. I don't have any room for a CRT TV. I mean, you are in an apartment in New York, so I'm not surprised. I don't mean that in a bad way, I'm just like, I mean, I probably don't necessarily have room for it either. I'm just incredibly stubborn. A lot of older game graphics were made with CRTs in mind. They just inherently look better. Yeah. Granted, like, CRT filters on emulators, both official and otherwise, have gotten a lot better. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to stream... I'm being climbed right now. I keep leaning in closer to the mic, and she keeps, like, climbing up and putting her face between me and the microphone. They're like, I'm petting you now. Are you happy? You little crime doer of crime. Thing is, if I'm not streaming, I'm not, like, talking or anything, if I'm just sitting here playing a game, she'll just sit on my lap and just plop down. You are lucky. You are so cute. I'm happy with my scaler. I really want a CRT for light gun games. You know, I'm not a super huge light gun person, but I have this overpowering desire to play point blank. Those games, like, I love the style, the vibes. It's like that certain kind of 90s video game arcade insanity that is just, like, perfectly captured in the PS1 and Dreamcast era. And, like, the thing is, like, physical copies of Point Blank are, like, $80. I think even just bare discs are like $60 last time I checked. It's been over a year, but I somehow don't think they've gotten cheaper. I actually do have a GunCon 2. But I have no games to play it with. But I found a GunCon 2 at a thrift store for like $2, so I was not going to say no. I know the GunCon 2 won't work with Point Blank. I think that's made for the original GunCon for PS1. I'd also really love to have a NeijiCon just because I love nerding out about weird, pointless controllers, even though I also don't own a single PlayStation 1 game that would work with an NeijiCon. But it's a twisty controller. I can grab the controller and you can twisty. That, and someday if I am actually making enough money back streaming and stuff like that, I would like to invest in some of the more expensive stuff like a similar scaler to the one you have, 7th. Because that way, you know, I could hook up a lot of my older consoles and just play things from them directly from, like, original hardware, and use some of the batshit insane controllers and stuff like that. Or heck, I could even do the peak 2005 stream, where I will hook up my PlayStation 2, and I'll play Shadow the Hedgehog with my red Mad Catz controller, and we'll listen to Linkin Park together. And we can talk about how we felt so many things that now we feel nothing at all.
If it weren't for all this sadness, the only thing I would feel is pain.
Channeling the edgy bitch power. It's expensive as hell, but it's really, really handy if you want to use it on original hardware. I don't regret it at all. Oh, I know I won't regret it. It's just having the actual money while also being able to eat. Ow, 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 claws in my face. Okay, I have to pet this cat right now. She is reaching up. She is literally petting me. It is honestly one of the cutest things, like, when cats want to be petted really bad, they'll reach their, like, hand at you. It's like, this is how you do it. This is what I want you to do. Is that better, you little criminal? You stinky little boy. No, glowing rectangle, your attention should be on me. But the glowing rectangles where all my friends are. And as like you said, with like the original hardware stuff, it goes back to that one tweet I posted on Blue Sky the other day. It's like, just a, you know, really intensely hyper-fixated nerds accidentally turning into historians or correcting years-long misconceptions because, like, well, I just really wanted my video to be accurate. Because, like, it really hit me when you were doing your stream the other day, which was super fun, and, you know, you were talking about the cheat code or whatever on the title screen for, I think, the Darkstalkers collection on PS2. And you were like, oh yeah, the code on the wiki's just wrong. This is the actual code right here. And you just put it in and just like, that was amazing. Average Token Ranbu fan. Oh yeah, really fun, surprising thing, Guru. The Token Ranbu Muso game actually got a North American release. The one that came out like a year or two ago, I think.
Hiya, it's Uncle Ralph. You taking good care of your Pokemon? You have to be good to your partners. Yesterday, a wild Rattata slipped away from me, right in front of my kid. I was feeling down. About it until he shared his Pokeballs with me. That sure made my day. Call your mom sometimes too.
I heard some stuff about it. Is it decent? I haven't really looked into it. I was just surprised that a Token Ranbu game got not only a Muso, but got an international release. There have been in there way too many times. And the accidental historian thing is always really funny. Because I don't remember what it was exactly, but I know there was a YouTube video I was watching a few years ago, and they were talking about, like, this game, and they're like, oh, you know, this or that release date, and I'm like, oh no, I know what day it released on, because, like, I got it when it came out, and Mom had it written down in one of her journals. Same here, like, the game's mostly popular in places like Hong Kong or Taiwan. Honestly, one of the weirdest things, like, not in a bad way, I'm actually glad, but, like, most of the Utawarerumono games are actually available in English. Some of which actually got English dubs. Most of them are still in Japanese with subtitles, though. The weirdest thing is, with the exception of Monochrome Mobius, none of the titles got localized. It's literally like sitting on the shelf in English called Utawarerumono. And like, with no like space bar breaks in the middle of the word. Well, it's not really one word, but I'm like, guys, I'm all for accuracy and not going overboard in localization. And I know the game has a lot of like heavily like Japanese fantasy themes, but at the very least, you gotta put a few English words in there, guys. Americans are very terrified of foreign words. Well, not really terrified, but it's just like, I'm sorry, but like something that's like 11 or 12 letters in a language you don't recognize is probably not going to sell you on the game unless you're already a nerd. But by then, you already know what the game series is, so you're already buying it. Like I said, it probably is partially evident to the fact that Monochrome Mobius, the one with an English name, is the most well-known game in the series. It also doesn't hurt that Monochrome Mobius is also like a more modern-looking game. That, you know, is more open exploration. Americans barely know English. You think they're gonna bother to learn anything in other languages? Especially with Asian Americans side-eyeing them for mispronouncing things. Do a solid and give them English. I have nightmares for months when someone says gracias to me. Lo siento. I mean, honestly, the interesting thing with the quotation marks English is that a lot of stuff done in that way, you know, basically the misconceptions of English through a non-native English speaker have become so well regarded and popular and culturally relevant that it has affected the English language to where quotation marks English is more correct than it used to be. Pet peeve is an American, they go, I'm gonna mispronounce this, and then they pronounce it properly. Like, stop wasting your breath and just say it. I will punch. Ah! Ah! Oh! Ah! Various mouse noises. It's not English fault. That's what, no. Well, English is a bizarre, like, especially American English, but due to general like global communication, it affects Australian and British English now too. But in general, like, English is a hodgepodge of a bunch of other languages. It's like English is actually secretly like 12 languages all stacked up in a trench coat. And all the other languages that make up English all hate each other. They not only hate each other, they can't decide which way any of the letters are pronounced. Ain't you, honestly? I hate depending on which English you speak, you get a side-eye from a weird Asian person who thinks a certain accent is superior. And then you also have what I call the localization roulette, in which, like, when a game is localized to English, will you get British English, American English, some bizarre hodgepodge? Because, understandably, Xenoblade, The Last Story, and Pandora's Tower are all in British English because they were localized by Nintendo of Europe. Because they originally weren't going to get North American releases. So when they did release in North America, the North American versions just have the European English localization. That makes plenty of sense. Because, you know, they were already done. But then you have weird things like... let's use Singaporean English. That sounds interesting, I should actually look into it. But by some technicality, due to some very niche use cases of English, you can technically spell fish G-H-O-T-I. I know. I've seen that. No, but we have things like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which has its voice acting completely in British English, and it's actually really interestingly done because, like, the characters in different regions will have different English accents. But all the text uses the American English spellings. Or you have, like, Breath of Fire 3. Or, okay, the PSP version of Breath of Fire 3, released in Japan and Europe, but not in North America, but it uses the North American English localization from the PS1 version. And you also have things like the, there was a game based on Detective Conan for Wii. It came out in Japan normally. The English version is in American English and dubbed by Funimation's voice cast that was doing Case Closed at the time. So you have a game that has American English voice actors with an American English script that was only released in Europe in English. Breath of Fire 3 mention. Is an entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype based around the whole fish thing? I've seen that. It's really good. Also, yes, 7th, Breath of Fire 3 is absolutely getting streamed at some point. Part of me thought about doing 1 and 2, but I'm probably just gonna jump straight to 3 and loop back around to 1 and 2 later. I mean, Breath of Fire 1 and 2 are fine games, don't get me wrong, but Breath of Fire 3 and 4 just hit. Like, they are so good. We'll be there. I'm not surprised. But I do appreciate it, actually. Like I said, I appreciate all you guys. You show up and watch me, even if I'm just sitting here goofing and grinding and making no actual game progress. You guys still just show up and hang out. It's awesome. Also, 7th, I don't think I've ever told you my whole weird history with Breath of Fire 3, like, and the disc I had growing up. Because you're fun. Ooh. Really? But, well, you guys, I am blush. Shy mouse moment. But, okay, so, I had a copy of Breath of Fire 3 growing up. Can we my dumb little stream? Hey, your stream was cool. That was a lot of fun playing the different games and testing out all the stuff. And I learned some stuff too. But I would definitely make sure you save the VOD and stuff for later. I know you may have thought it was like a goofy little stream and stuff and think it's disposable, but I unfortunately have lost a lot of my streams because I didn't know how to export properly. So like a lot of my early streams are gone and I really wish I could watch them again. Just to like, you know, have those early moments or remember silly little jokes that I made or you guys made in chat. Because I know Twitch nukes your videos after 2 weeks, I think, unless you're, like, a partner. But you can also go to, like, I think the, video editor tab or whatever, or creator tab, something like that, from the dashboard. The original plan was to save the VOD to review the footage. I legitimately wasn't expecting anyone to come to the stream. Okay, well, at least you're saving it, then. But hey, if nothing else, I'll show up if I'm not at job. I remember when it used to be a month and they shortened it to 2 weeks. Yeah, it sucks. The thing is, if you're, like, before I was affiliate, it was 1 week. Like, your videos were gone after 7 days. If you're just, like, a regular, not associated kind of thing. But no, okay, my thing with Breath of Fire 3 is my copy that I grew up with is from a pawn shop. And, it mostly played just fine. Until you get to, I think it's Mount Zublo. It's the, magma dungeon where you fight the, like, old guy with the 2 lava dragons at the end. And, granted, I wouldn't have known that because, that is where my game would always freeze up. And in a really weird way, because I would walk in there and it would play the music. But it would not load, like, any of the assets, like, I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. It was like, I walk in there and all it does is load the music. And I thought, hey, maybe it's just my PS1. You know, maybe, because, like, I had noticed when I was little, I played my PS1 so much that its load times were starting to get a little long, and it had, like, some of my discs it just didn't want to read, or it would be like, oh, sometimes it would read certain discs, sometimes it wouldn't. So I took it to a friend's house, and they had the exact same problem when I played it on their PS1, on their PS2, and, like, even later on, you know, I got other PS1 consoles, I got my own PS2, PlayStation 3, and it would have the same problems in the same areas every single time. So the disc was pretty much just screwed. So from, like, I think 2000, 2001 when I first got the game, all the way till, like, I think 2019 or so, I just couldn't get past that until I eventually just said F it and bought another disc. And I don't know what took me so long, because, like, I had ordered other things from Amazon and stuff like that even when I didn't have a computer at home. So, like, I don't know why I didn't ever think to just buy another physical copy of it. It almost felt like it was unobtainable, like I somehow had to... It was just one of those weird... I don't know if it's neurodivergent, executive dysfunction, just mental blocks, I guess. But I think it was in either 2019 or 2020, I finally just went on to eBay and just bought another copy of the game. The new copy I have has worked wonderfully. I'm almost at the end of the game. I put in like 65-something hours. But though it is funny, Because I still have my same memory card, and I still have my childhood save file. But I'm pretty sure my time is skewed, because as a kid, even though I couldn't get past Mount Zublo, a lot of times I would just come in and just turn on the game to run around and grind and stuff, just because I loved the game so much that I just wanted to be in it, even if I couldn't get any further. But no, booting up my childhood save file and stuff and going back to it, I had learned almost every single, like, enemy skill ability on Ryu specifically for some reason. I have no idea why I did that. But he had just, like, almost the full list of every enemy skill you could get to that point, and I'm like, what was Kid Me cooking? Of course, that save file's a bit of a mess, and I'm probably going to have to over-level to get through the final dungeon, because as a kid, I did not understand how the master system worked. So I'm just like, why would I want this guy to change my stats? This lowers HP? Why do I want lower HP? Why is plus speed and attack going to make that much of a difference? Ew. And I'm like, ah. Because, like, Kid Me did not understand min-maxing. Kid Me wanted only pluses. Well, honesty, that is kind of annoying. Yeah, I had to can my first playthrough when I found out about the master stuff. Well, the thing is, at this point, like, I'm gonna do more playthroughs, obviously, especially now that I know more about the game's mechanics. But I still want to finish my childhood save file, even if it is a mess. I'm not gonna lie, like, when I was playing it, after finally getting the working disc, finally actually having adult Ryu and getting to that part, I actually cried. Because it just felt like something that would just be impossible, that I'd never be able to do on my original save. Because I actually, even though it took me so long, like, I guess nearly 20 years to finally buy another PS1 disc, I did actually import a European, English PSP copy, and PSP's region-free, so it plays just fine. And I bought it digitally when it released for PSP and Vita in North America. For $10, like, hey, if anyone in there has a Vita, go buy Breath of Fire 3, it's $10. So, like, I bought the PSP version both times, but for whatever reason, I couldn't bring myself to really play deep into it. It's like, as silly as it sounds, I didn't want my first time finishing the game to be the PSP version. Not because the PSP version's bad or anything, it's objectively the best version of the game. Because, like, it loses literally nothing from the PS1 version. But you get widescreen and analog support. Because I love the PlayStation 1 version of Breath of Fire 3, but oh my god, having to hold the D-pad and diagonals to actually move cleanly, my thumb does not like that. I love the PSP. Like I said, if I had played the PSP version first or something, like if I had been born like 5, 6, 7 years later, probably wouldn't care. Or, you know, if I just, like, waited to ever play Breath of Fire 3, I probably would have just been all in on the PSP version. PSP, Vita, the handheld with so much potential. I really love the Vita and PSP. Actually, Vita prices, physicals have gone down for, like, English copies lately. There's a lot of games that were like $50 are like $25 and $30 now. So I might go ahead and grab me like Sorcery Saga and the PS Vita ports of Disgaea and stuff. Ooh, Ralph wants to battle. Let's go. honestly, like, playing the PSP version of Breath of Fire 3, the digital one, on, like, a PlayStation TV or a Vita is, like, such a clean and wonderful experience. Much as I love my DS, I love the games that were on PSP. PSP games were so cool. There was just so much good stuff. Like, there's so many amazing games on PSP that are still exclusive, like freaking Hexus Force, Crimson Gem Saga, Blackrock Shooter the game, the freaking Generation of Chaos games. Like, I was actually pleasantly surprised that, NIS ended up porting Zettai Hero Project. ZHP is actually on Switch as part of one of the NIS collections. Because I think most of the other games they ported over to Switch have on the NIS collections. I'm sad they only did 3. I was hoping they were going to keep going. DS and PSP legit the best handheld generation. It was... Whoa. Kitten. She's headbutting my microphone. I have a very strong affection for the 3DS, but its library is very one-sided into things that I specifically like. I actually watched a video talking about the PSP port of Persona 3. Persona 3 is fantastic because, like, every version of Persona 3 is just a completely different game. I mean, FES is more or less a straight upgrade of the original 2006 release. But aside from that, like, FES, Portable, and Reload are all just totally different games. And it's kind of crazy. But yeah, like, I think I mentioned it a couple streams ago. I don't remember if you were here or not, Rain, but, like, a few days ago, I think it was, like, last week, Maddie and I were, like, talking about some Persona stuff. And then that same day, I found this really awesome, like, 2-hour-long video about somebody discussing the evolution of the UI in the Persona games. And I, like, really wanted to play some Persona after that. But I really do want to stream. I'll probably start with 3. I know, yes, I'm aware Persona 1 and 2 exist. I have the PSP versions. I have a PlayStation Classic. Oh, that's right. Whenever I get the HDMI upscaler, I can use my classic systems because I've got the NES, Super NES, Genesis, and PlayStation 1 like mini consoles. I find it crazy that the PSP port has like a full script rewrite for the female character, and she hasn't gotten a port to any of the other Persona 3 ports after her debut. Well, the thing with the female protagonist, Kotone is usually what a lot of the people call her in fandom. The reason why I think she exists at all is due to the incredibly simplified nature of Persona 3 Portable. Because all you really have to do is change the UI and stuff for, like, battle and dungeon running. But if you were to put her in FES, like, that's like cutscene blocking, so much has to change. And that's an exponentially larger workload. Like, I really wish she could have been in Reload, but I understand why she's not.
Hey kid, no losing for me this day.
I guess you guys get a free random fun piece of gaming trivia. A lot of the trainer sprites in Gold and Silver, and by extension Crystal, are actually edited or censored for the North American release. A particularly notable one is fishermen, like Ralph here, have a cigarette hanging out of their mouths in the Japanese version. Maybe something in the future, Atlas will do something like Persona 3 Reload alternate or something with her story. Ha! Of course. I mean, honestly, I would buy like a $30 Persona 3 Reload DLC that lets you play through the game with Kotane. And like, okay, my thing with DLC, I know a lot of people, especially people around my age range, in like the 30s or early 40s or whatever, just like detest paid DLC on principle. But my thing with it is like, if enough work and effort go into a piece of DLC, it's worth the money. Like, Xenoblade's DLCs are all absolutely worth the money. Pokemon has an amazing track record with DLC, especially Scarlet and Violet. I mean, you almost get another game's worth of content for $30. Severe doubts that'll ever happen. I mean, if it does happen, this is Atlas. Let's be honest here. If that does happen, it's going to be another $70 on a physical release, and there will be no upgrade path if you own the original game.
I tried to rush things.
Let's go over to Monogamy Town. Naturally, it doesn't sell. They'll probably chalk it up to our player base doesn't want to play as a girl. I mean, it's interesting that Sega actually pointed out in recent financials that a lot of their games that have performed well critically, such as Metaphor ReFantasio, from their Atlas branch, their sales have been under projections. And they actually addressed the fact that a lot of people in the player base are probably spurned by the concept of definitive editions and are just waiting on those to come out. I don't know what it is about chain smoking back in the 2000s. Like, my aunt is a classic smoker voice because of how much she smoked. I feel like, because like the US was like that in the late 80s and early 90s, at least around where I lived. I feel like in Japan, smoking was like super normalized, especially in the 90s and 2000s, at least from my personal observations of things, from what I've seen. Like, once again, as an outsider, kind of want to look into Metaphor. Like, Metaphor seems like a really cool game, and I'd love to give it a try, but I won't lie. The fact that I'm assuming there's going to be like Metaphor Royale Reload or whatever has just made me want to wait on it, unless I find it for like $20 somewhere. Because like, I feel like a dumbass because I bought the original PS4 version of Dragon Quest XI, and when they announced that 11S was getting a PS4 port and there was no upgrade path, I was pretty irritated. I think it wasn't until they raised up the prices that it finally slowed down. What, for cigarettes? I mean, I don't know how anyone can afford to smoke. Even back then, when, like, cigarettes were pretty cheap. I'm like, why would you spend the money on that when you could save that up and buy more video games? Dad used to smoke really heavily and quit when I was, like, 8 to 10. Fun fact, my mom, she grew up in her household, both her parents and her older siblings all smoked in the house with minimal ventilation. In my mom's 30s and 40s, she got pneumonia almost every winter because it did permanent damage to her lungs being around secondhand smoke all the time. My mom herself never smoked. My grandpa made himself near chairbound from smoking so heavily, and even then I don't remember him having a smoker voice. Money for sticks that put tar in my lungs, or money for video games. The first motivation to not smoke was seeing my grandpa being set up in an oxygen tank because of his smoking. That shit's scary. I kid you not, like... Well, okay, when I grew up, like... A lot of the people I knew started smoking at, like, 12, 13. And, you know, like, one person handed me a cigarette to try it, and I, like, coughed and wheezed and almost threw up, and I'm like, okay, no thanks, no thanks. But also, bless you, what really put me off was how fucking expensive it was, and Mom, you know, she doesn't smoke, and she explained stuff like that and stuff, and she showed me, like, you know, like, people that she was related to that had, like, stomas, people who had to be on oxygen tanks because they smoked, because in, like, the 40s and 50s and stuff, like, smoking was advertised as something healthy for you. Used to not be bothered by cigarette smoke when I was younger, but after my dad quit, I can't stand it even a little. Never tried it, to be honest, never felt the need to. Well, I mean, like, you know, I was 13 and people I knew were doing it, and, like, so I had, like, that tiny little puff of a cigarette one time was it forever. I have not ever touched the shit ever again. Even, like, vape smoke that smells nice, my lungs like, hey, we shouldn't be breathing this shit. At 13, no, everyone I knew smoked, like, started smoking at 10, 11, 12, 13. Like, one of the people I went to school with, that I was friends with for a while, like, his parents smoked, as far as I knew, forever. And so he would just steal cigarettes out of his dad's, because his dad was, like, pretty much perpetually inebriated. Dude, even at 16, I knew vaping was bullshit. It's so weird, they, like... Because smoking now properly actually has a bad reputation. As it should, because it's gross and weird and shitty and expensive. So they just keep trying to repackage smoking to make it cool and hip again. Smoking wasn't big where I was, or at least at the time that I was. I only ever knew one peer who smoked, and even then they were 4 years older. I don't know too many smokers, cigarettes anyway, but the ones started at like 16, 17. I mean, thankfully, I can think of maybe 2 people I've ever met that are currently under the age of 35 that smoke. So I feel like the people I grew up around were kind of the last mainstream smokers where it was just a normal thing to do. But vaping's cool, like, huh? Yeah, well, vaping's cool because it's marketed to be, quotation marks, cool. Smoking's only cool when a fictional character does it. It starts and ends with them having it in their mouth with smoke wafting out. No, like, literally smoking's like... I liken smoking to, like... You know, like, a character, like, carrying a gun and getting in a gunfight is cool in a fictional, like, movie or an anime or something like that. But that sure as hell isn't something I want to see in real life, or do in real life. It's like when Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop lights up and then gets in a gunfight with the Mafia. That's cool and sexy and stoic and tragic. Those things are not cool in reality. None of those things are cool in reality. They're terrible. No thanks. I like living, actually. Top 10 times I didn't fucking die.
Number 10.
Hey, if anybody watching this VOD wants to hire me to do announcer voices, this can be my demo reel. I can do the top 10 announcements.
Number 9. Number 8.
I can be the Super Smash Brothers announcer.
Mario. Luigi. Link. Goku. SpongeBob SquarePants. That one anime girl with giant hooters.
The only thing that always cool in fiction and reality is everyone here. Me, I don't smoke. Drinks monster that is destroying my insides. Nobody's destroying my insides. Sure narrows it down. I mean, honestly, that's just half of my character design, so I can't say anything. That one anime girl with giant hooters, do you have any idea how little that narrows it down? I mean, honestly, that will also be me whenever I actually get, like, a model on screen. It's gotta be at least 4 of them. Why couldn't a can of monster just turn into a monster and it'll destroy my insides instead of increasing my heart rate? You see, I get the ADHD effect of caffeine makes me, like, dizzy and tired. Like, I don't get how people get energized from caffeine. Like, if I drink something caffeinated, I skip the hyperactive, energized part and go straight to being burnt out and exhausted. Of course, as I've told LD on stream, caffeine doesn't actually give you energy. All it does is tell the part of your brain to detect when you're tired that you aren't. You're just as tired as you were before you had the caffeine. That's why you have a massive crash out when the effect wears off. No, it's actually magic. Oh, oh, it's magic. Wee you, I look just like Buddy Holly. Ho, oh, and you're Mary Tyler Moore. Yeah, but I need to stay away from my dojin. Yeah, these men won't have gay sex on there. Well, okay, they will, but you still have to write it. After I've not had caffeine in years, having it now just makes me go like, is this the caffeine, or am I having an anxiety attack? Cut to, the 2 guys from El Dorado. Both. Personally, caffeine makes me feel exactly the same. Are we like an entire, like, D&D alignment board of caffeine effectiveness? Like chaotic tired, neutral tired. Maddie's true neutral. Granted, I think chaotic tired is pretty much all of our alignments in here. Dude, they keep going sex in my brain, which is why I have to illustrate it.
I think the only time when Monster worked is when I mixed Calpico and I couldn't fall asleep. If you're neurodivergent, I don't think there's any other kind of tired to be. That's fair. Also, there's a weird thing, and I think I've mentioned this on stream before, but it's like having a regular job is like the empty calories of getting tired. Because, like, most of the time you're just standing or sitting for 7 to 10 hours, but you're not exercising. You know, you're not burning any calories, you're not doing anything that's actually useful or productive to your life. So you just get tired for nothing of importance. I stay away from caffeine and energy drinks because it unfortunately does keep me wired for a while. I had one of those Celsius drinks once thinking it'd be a nice alternative to soda, had no idea it was caffeinated. I generally, even though caffeine, like I said, has the reverse effect on me, I generally try to go for caffeine-free. Like, one vice I will not give up, and I'm so sorry, but I will not give up soda. At 3 AM, wondering, why the fuck am I still awake? Feel that. But no, like, I will not give up soda, but I only drink diet. Thankfully, I did not get that aspartame allergy reaction thing, so I only drink diet, and I try to get caffeine-free as much as possible. But the thing is, all the brand name sodas went from being like $1.50 or something for a 2-liter to they're usually like $3 now. And so I usually want to get the $1 like Sam's Cola at Walmart because, like, yeah, it doesn't taste as good as Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, but, you know, it's fine. But they stopped carrying the caffeine-free version. Yeah, you've mentioned the artificial sweetener allergy before, Rain. I'm so sorry. I would die if that were me. I gotta have my cheese, and my chicken nuggies, and my Diet Coke. I don't know why, but Japanese brand caffeine drinks and Red Bull knocks me out. Only Monster manages to keep me awake. That Monster that keeps you up all night. America's a horrible place to have that allergy. Not that I would actually drink diet soda anymore at this point in my life. Like I said, I need the bubbly. Because I do not do drug, I do not partake in the alcohol, I do not smoke or vape or anything like that. But even then, like, I've tried not to drink it all the time. I've tried to add more water. I keep a big old jug of Arizona diet green tea in the fridge at all times. And if water isn't doing it for me, I kind of have that as my go-to other drink. I have a root beer or a ginger ale once in a blue moon, but those are the only sodas I really like. That's fair. Okay, everybody, grab your caffeine-free, sugar-free beverage of choice. I got my water tumbler right here. Ugh. Sorry, I had to cough. I've been so congested-y lately. Gingle ale, gingle ale, gingle ale, gingle all the way. It hurts your throat, and I love that. Guru? I'm not surprised. I mean, hey, we all like it rough in the throat every once in a while. Root beer and ginger ale are what I stick to soda-wise. That's fair. I literally can't type and draw at the same time. Ginger ale is my favorite soda. Even in my sort of soda-less diet, I will never turn down having some. What? This is me! Glad everyone in chat has good soda taste. I mean, I don't know what it is. For the longest time, I was actually trying to give up, like, cola sodas. So I was just drinking, like, 7-Up, Sierra Mist, like, basically the clear sodas. But I just kind of lost my taste for them a while ago. It doesn't help that my favorite 7-Up, which was the cherry 7-Up Zero Sugar, nowhere around me carries it anymore. I have this curse that whenever I really, really like something, it just gets discontinued where I live. Fruit sodas also hit if I'm in a mood, like the Faygo ones, I think. I love it when it does the thing in your throat and then you swallow and you're like,
Why did I do this?
not making a sex show is honestly how I enjoy ginger ale. Oh, no judging. Ish. Also like finding things like orange soda, grape soda, cranberry soda. Ooh, they actually had cranberry zero sugar starry over the holiday, so I grabbed a few of those. It was really good. But yeah, it's hard to find 7-Up zero sugar anymore. Pepsi just flat out stopped carrying Sierra Mist. Why did you do that voice? I can't. Sorry. I have many voices. But yeah, like, most places I go to now, they don't have 7-Up at all. Pepsi flat out discontinued Sierra Mist altogether and replaced it with Starry, which just isn't as good to me anyway. And like, sometimes places will have Sprite Zero, but like of all of the clear sodas, it's kind of my least favorite. I like it more than Starry, but I don't know. Sprite's flavor just seems a lot more tart, and I feel like it goes flat a lot faster than 7-Up. I would do unspeakable things to get cranberry Sierra Mist back. I mean, same, honestly. Once again, capitalism goes, oh, Twitch user Maikea Manga likes this product? Fucking get rid of it! Can't have it exist! Really transphobic of capitalism, which, like, yeah, nobody's surprised by that. I mean, capitalism will be transphobic until, you know, being trans is, like, more marketable and popular. Then it'll be like, oh yeah, we're all transgender, we all be in here, trans and our gender all day long. Sorry, no one is as bad at capitalism than America.
Silence, Brand!
That's the thing is, like, with America and capitalism, they're really bad at it, for sure. It's just that, like, they're like that one person who shows up to every bar or whatever and refuses to learn or get better at everything because they think they're already the best when they're not even, like, they're just they're like, okay, slightly above the amateur level of people around them who never tried. But on the grand stage of everything, they're just like, you know, if the average person's like a 4 out of 10, they're like a 5 out of 10, and they think that makes them the best at everything. Countries who are socialist or communist see capitalism better than America. I know China is exponentially better at capitalism, and they are literally a communist country. Like, that's just an example off the top of my head. Until they invent soda that gives you tits, I don't care. You know, I was honestly devastated when I found out that the animal called a titmouse was a bird. I mean, like, I feel like that would have been the perfect description for me. Yeah, like that kid in middle school who's, like, good at art and then they got art school. I don't care who the IRS sends, I'm not paying my taxes. No copyright law in the universe can stop me. Yo, I should play Sonic Colors. Okay, this is your chance to take that brand. Wait, which one? I've said like 15 things. I'm lost. Help. Streamer brain, I'm so sorry. Fuck you, Tits Your Mouse. Oh, about the tit bird? Yeah. Okay. I don't really have any way to show you guys, but Dot fell asleep on my chest in mid-biscuit making. So she's just flopped over my leg and chest, just with one arm just like stuck in my sweater, like one arm with a claw stuck in my sweater. She just stopped there. Need to send you something that was in a comment section Seepent and you saw earlier. She's just really the most dangerous sleep.
This summer, the baby cat is Eepy.
The missile is very tired. She is Eepy. Seeing the word missile makes me realize that I need to go back and finish Ghost Trick.
From the creators who brought you Eepy Puppy.
Oh shit, I peeked the mic. I'm so sorry. I love your voices. They keep kidding me. Night-night time. Good night, Mrs. the Missile. I actually would love to be like a video announcer voice. Like, I would even do like little announcer voices on a YouTube video for free just to have it on the portfolio if somebody wants me to just like, you know, do the little announcer voices like that, or like the parodies of stuff like
This Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. You'll be at the edge of your seat, not from excitement, but because your chair has a cat sitting on it and they're not going to share.
That's the same thing I was talking about earlier. Noted.
Good evening, Mots. It's me, Wade. Are you awake? I found all kinds of berries. If you want, I'll share some with you. I'll be waiting on Route 31.
Man, that hit too close to home. Dude, this is like Wade's third berry drop in like the 2.5 hours I've been playing. I don't know how many art times I had to sacrifice because my void would not share. But you see, the thing with Dot here is like, by sitting completely in the chair, I have become the chair. Also, you see, the thing is, Rain, I am interested in the thing you sent me and do want to look at it. However, my phone is farther from me than my arm's length. To reach for it, I would have to disturb this adorable criminal who has laid claim to at least 2/3 of my life. Congrats on the promotion. Congratulations. 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 What I do is put one of my jackets for my cats and move them onto it. The old jacket off strategy. Quack. Thank you for adding the penguin, Maddie. Well, you can't disturb the criminal. That goes against the cat owner's code. Mama, I'm in love with a criminal. As the words from the marrying Luca, 250 centimeters is the length my arms can reach. Or that be Megurine. God fucking damn it, English letters. Also, Guru, one of those things you said about like the mispronunciation and then pronouncing it right, it always reminds me of David Vink, who despite playing Japanese games for his entire life, really isn't super adept in Japanese, or he thinks he's not good like with Japanese. But every time he's like, oh, I'm gonna butcher this name, and then he pronounces it correctly on the first try every single time. I'm like, homie, like the almost 40 years of playing Japanese games, I think you've picked up on it by now, dude. You're fine. But I think a lot of that's just like preemptive damage control, where like YouTube comments will just decide to like be whiny little bitches over like being saying it, you're gonna fuck up still remains, absolutely. But that, like I said, YouTube comments wanting to be like pedantic little bitches about like, oh, you know, you didn't emphasize the A when you were saying Hagane correctly, you know, it should be Hagane. And it's just like, bitch, you know what word I'm saying. Like, English speakers don't give themselves enough credit. Like, the thing is, like, he legitimately makes an attempt. Like, he'll look at a Japanese name or something and actually... Like, he has a pretty good record. The only time he misses is when somebody has the last name Mine, because it's spelled in English M-I-N-E, and he always says mine. But that, like, silent E is, like, the #1 bugbear of English language. I have heard worse, and they always do it spot on. It's usually a toss-up if the ones correcting you are even correct themselves. That's the other thing, is like, people will be aggressively, confidently wrong. I see you moving your head around. I know you're not actually still asleep. Yeah, you bud. Rain E Days sent an image. Boobs! Oh my gosh, that's so good. Pangolin Whisper, we love you. Again, I just love that the Sonic the Hedgehog series just has canonical lesbians now. Have some run-ins with English speakers, and even if I correct them, they'll say it incorrectly so just one mess up is not the end of the world for me. As a result of the titmouse discussion. Yeah. Yeah, but dude, Tangle and Whisper actually being in an official, like, Sonic team-developed video game, even if it is just a racing game, oh my gosh. We cannot stop winning. See, I need to buy Crossworlds, because if you put Mega Man in a game, I'm an easy mark. They're real! Lesbians real! And Mega Man! Mega Man and lesbians at the Olympic Games! Mega Man would be like the ultimate ally, you know? He'd be like, "Get behind me, lesbians! I won't let Dr. Wily's robots get you!" Also completely random, but the fact that the 2 new Mega Man Timelines comics for Legends and Mega Man Zero are dropping January 7th, that cannot have been by accident. Still need to catch up on the IDW comics. Mega Man has only ever had beef with one woman after all. Splash Woman? Get behind me, lesbians! Wait, they are? Incredible. I know. We didn't even have to hit that thing at the mall. Tangle and Whisper releasing in February. They're being as subtle as a brick. Though that also reminds me of something really funny, is Persona 5's original limited edition is called the Take Your Heart edition. Well, it's an original North American limited edition. It's called the Take Your Heart edition because its initial release date was February 14th of 2017. It got delayed until April, but they still called it the Take Your Heart edition. I just find that infinitely amusing. It's actually a really cool limited edition because it comes with, like, the, Shujin Academy duffel bag from the game. That mall isn't too far from me. You might make a pilgrimage out there. Like, take some, like, selfies with, like, a Mega Man plushie or something. It'd be so good. If they actually released them on Valentine's Day, it'd be so much funnier. I doubt it'll happen, but I still want to do the same. But it's actually not the first Mega Man kart racer. There is a Mega Man kart racer for the original PlayStation called Mega Man Battle and Chase. It's classic series, and it plays kind of Mario Kart-ish, but it's also a little bit more like a traditional racer in certain ways. It was actually included as a bonus unlockable in the Mega Man X collection for GameCube and PlayStation 2, which I think has been its only re-release. Interestingly, its initial release was only in Japan and Europe, but it did have advertising for a North American release, because I distinctly remember seeing the ads in EGM and GamePro and stuff when I was a kid, but it never came out in North America. It also reminds me of, like, with the Mega Man X collection, the initial collection that released for GameCube and PS2, was actually a North American exclusive. That collection didn't even come out in Europe. But the other thing with that collection is, with the PlayStation 1 games, which are X4, 5, and 6, and Battle and Chase, for the GameCube version, they actually went in and made new sprites for GameCube button prompts in, like, the original resolution and everything. So you actually have PS1 games with sprites for GameCube button prompts, which is really cool. Or sprites, UI elements, you know what I mean. Maybe I should have asked for some physical copies of the IDW Sonic Comics for Christmas. I can get them later if I want. It's been a couple years, but I know when I went by Mook Sibillion, at least near me, they actually have some, like, $15 or $20 they're not hardback, but they have $15 or $20 like compilations that are a good 150 pages that have like several issues in one. They're actually not trade paperback sized either. They're still the same like long form size as the like regular comics. Always liked that they made X4 through X6 style logos for the first 3 games. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, but that's really cool too. Also, the Mega Man X Collection's the only North American release of the 32-bit version of Mega Man X3, aside from a PC release, which I'm kind of hoping that that PC version of X3 can get a release on GOG with a preservation program like they did with Breath of Fire 4 and the Resident Evils. Because I would love to have Capcom's entire PC port library from the 90s and 2000s be available there. The crazy thing about the GOG versions of the Resident Evils, Dino Crisis, and Breath of Fire 4 is that Capcom, aside from approving everything and, you know, doing their review to make sure everything was up to the standard, etc., Capcom had no direct involvement. Those games were actually ported by GOG's internal staff. Oh, that reminds me of something. I know this is off the beaten path of the stuff I normally play, but I've randomly gotten a really big interest in Remedy's Alan Wake verse, and I got the PC versions of Alan Wake and American Nightmare on GOG for like dirt cheap, and I have Control that I got for free on Epic Games Store about like 2 years ago or so. So I actually think it'd be really fun to stream all of like the Remedyverse games sometime. As much as I love GOG, my biggest issue is a lot of the certified good old games from PC ports don't have any kind of controller support, because I actually have the GOG version of Beyond Good and Evil, like the original PC release. I got it for like, I think $2. And it does not detect any controller I've thrown at it out of the like 14 or so USB controllers that I own, including my Power-A Xbox 360 wired controller that I got on clearance at Walmart for $7, which is what I'm using right now. Look, I really liked it from the, I played it for about 2 hours, but the thing is, this is before I had my hard drive that I have now, the external hard drive I got like yesterday. So I had to uninstall it just because it was 50 gigabytes and I just needed the space for other stuff. But I liked it enough that like I honestly was thinking about maybe just getting like a physical version for Xbox One or PS4, because it's not particularly expensive to get a physical copy. Usually it's under 20 bucks most places I've seen it, like for sealed copies and stuff. Also, okay, Control is one of the few games that is available on Switch as a cloud game, which I'm not a fan of. Okay, here's the thing. If they're gonna do, I understand for the original Switch, they wanted to do some games on the cloud because the Switch couldn't run them, and they still wanted to have a presence on the eShop. Sure. But I think that the cloud games on Switch should have been included with the expansion pack tier of the Switch Online, because you have to be connected to the internet to play those, and it's not worth spending the real money you would spend to purchase a game for something that's saved on someone else's server. But as a bonus incentive for a subscription service, being able to play Control, Resident Evil 7, or the Kingdom Hearts games on your original Switch would be a wonderful addition. Because since you have to have online anyway, having it as a bonus for online expansion pack works perfectly. The thing is, cloud gaming only works when it's part of a subscription service. That's why Stadia failed, is because even though it had a subscription service, it still wanted you to pay real money to buy most of the games like they were console games. Because here's the thing, this is going to sound surprising from someone who's an old schooler who collects physical games and all this stuff. I actually really love cloud gaming in a lot of aspects. But right now the tech isn't there, and nobody's found, like, all the companies are too greedy to market and utilize it properly. Because, like, I actually had Stadia Pro for a while. I never actually paid for it. They just kept giving me Stadia Pro for free as a thing on my email. I wasn't even doing anything like making new accounts to get more free Stadia Pro. They just kept giving it to me. So I had like 6 months of free Stadia Pro. It's actually how I first played Ys 8 and Ys 9. That's how I tried out... Well, actually, I tried out Control for the first time because I had a free demo for the Switch cloud version. But no, like, it was so cool being able to just fire up my phone and have my little flat Bluetooth controller that I used to keep in my backpack all the time. Just hook that up, prop my phone up on the little thingamabobber attached to the back, and just sit there and play Ys 8 on my lunch break. On my phone. I remember one time I was playing Ys 8 on the TV on my regular computer, and Mom wanted to watch a movie, so I just grabbed my laptop, went into the kitchen, hooked my Xbox 360 controller that I got for $7 on clearance at Walmart up to my laptop, and just kept playing Ys 8 from my last save point on my laptop seamlessly. And for me personally, one of my least favorite things with modern gaming, as you probably guessed by my whole rant about the hard drive, my least favorite thing about modern gaming is fucking managing storage. Sorry, I peeked the mic again. I need to stop apologizing for that. Me being loud and yapping is what you guys are here for. Yeah, I did that once on my PS4 for the same reason. No, like, I cannot stand constant storage management. I don't like not having all my games available. People are like, oh, when you complete a game, just delete it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna want to go back to it. But I also have ADHD and executive dysfunction. So if, for example, my brain has the overpowering desperate need to play Star Ocean: The Last Hope International 4K plus Full HD Edition specifically for PlayStation 4, and I have to wait for all 44 of those gigabytes to download, by the time they're downloaded, I'm not going to want to play it. I'll have done something else. I'll have watched a YouTube video about a gay man cooking freaking pumpkin pie from 1947. And then I'll have gone in there and made a pizza that I left in the oven and burnt because I forgot I was making a pizza. And I hate to say it, but if there's a game that isn't downloaded to my hard drive, I might as well not own it. At least as far as my brain goes. Defense Coil. I like how you said the SO4 full government name. I'm sorry. I love when remasters get just like a ludicrously extended name because they will not cut off any other part of the name from the previous releases. And the Star Ocean 4 and Resonance of Fate remasters having the janky-ass name 4K plus Full HD Edition is just the funniest shit ever. It's like, I get that you want to advertise that, but if you just called it Resonance of Fate Definitive Edition, you know, Star Ocean The Last Hope International Plus, we would have gotten it, but it's like, what if someone looks at it, it's like, okay, but is it 4K and Full HD? It's really important to me that it be both. Got the social security in there, too. Though I actually will give Star Ocean The Last Hope International 4K plus Full HD Edition full credit for being one of the first console games that I've seen that actually gives you all of the resolution, frame rate, and like shadow and etc. options from the PC version. Like, literally, I think the only thing from the PC version of Star Ocean's remaster that isn't in PS4 is the settings for the keyboard buttons. It's actually one of the few PS4 games that will let you completely remap the buttons, including remapping confirm to circle. Which I love to do. I'm just sick like that. It's like with the Super Robot Tyson games on DS. It's like, oh no, I won't just say like, oh, you know, like Endless Frontier. No, it's like, I have to say Super Robot Tyson OG Saga, The Endless Frontier. Honestly, like, I think Nintendo is probably my favorite with some of the way, like, they gotta make sure they indicate that you're not just getting one game when you buy this remaster. No, it's Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. Though they also go in the other direction, which annoys me. I kind of don't like when a remaster has literally the exact same title as the game it's remastering or remaking. Like with Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, the Switch version's just called Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, even though it has, like, a lot of differences from the GameCube version. But the title makes it sound like they just slapped the GameCube version on a Switch cartridge and called it an evening. Gotta hit. Okay, good. I'm not the only one, because it does. Like, it's even more egregious with Super Mario RPG, because, first of all, I love the Super Mario RPG remake. It is absolutely freaking fantastic. But why did they just call it Super Mario RPG? Like, looking up info on the original RE trilogy, a pain. Oh, absolutely. Might be where I take off for the night. Much like the criminal, I have the EP. Good night, everyone. Good night, Rain. Thank you so much for hanging out with us while we play some Pokemans. Have a wonderful, wonderful sleep. Let the dulcet tones of the squeaky mouse who will not shut up about video games lull you into a wonderful, peaceful rest. Also, one little thing I was thinking about, and when you brought up the original RE trilogy, it made me think about this, but, that weird thing that happened at the end of the Nintendo 64's lifespan, because while PlayStation and Saturn shared a lot of games, the N64 was just kind of a Galapagos off in its own little corner, getting its own unique third-party games that rarely, if ever, showed up on either of the other platforms. Right up until Pokemon came out, and then in its last, like, 2 years, suddenly the N64 became the destination for third-party games besides PlayStation. And my favorite is, like, the random Capcom deluge, hiring miracle-making third-party devs to somehow compress entire PlayStation 1 games into an N64 cartridge. Because isn't, like, the N64 version of Resident Evil 2 one of the biggest file size N64 games? Because I know that Resident Evil 2 on N64 is like, they have all the cutscenes, compressed to hell and back, but they're all there. But they've got all the cutscenes, and they have Leon and Claire's both A and B side campaigns all on one singular N64 cartridge, which is crazy. I've actually always wanted to get the N64 version of Mega Man Legends, though I am baffled to this day why they called it Mega Man 64, because that makes it sound like it's like a modernized version of like Mega Man 1 on NES. Though I think I've mentioned this before, but like between the Nintendo 64 and its naming thing being kind of a little low-key meme, especially in the early internet era, you know, like the something something 64. Of course, the eternally funny number 69 and the modern trend of 67. I have just determined that the 60s are just the most memeable tens digit. I don't know how it keeps happening, but it's just like... it's the digit. Honestly, Gen Alpha was so close to the sex number, but they stopped themselves. Huh, yeah, never thought about that. It's one of those weird things that just occurred to me the other day, especially as like the 6-7 meme is like kind of hitting its peak popularity. Though I think my favorite, like, tweet about it is like, man, the economy's so bad that when I was younger, we used to make jokes about 69, but now kids these days can only make jokes about 67. It's like, damned inflation. Well, honesty, time doesn't change much. What is now iPad Kids was Gen Z's DS problem that I'd also point out constantly. Well, no, that's the thing, is like, oh, it's them kids and their damn phones, when it's just like, no, dude, it was the kids and their DSs, and then it was the kids and their Game Boys, then it was the kids and their Walkman, and it was the kids and their rock and roll music, and it's just like... you're just closed-minded and you hate something you're not a part of, because new things scary. And it is depressing to get into my 30s and watch my fellow rebellious people I knew in high school grow up to be exactly everything they hated about their parents, and not even notice they're doing it. It's too much of a good noodle growing up, didn't understand the joke behind 69 until I was damn near out of high school. I was like, oh damn, that's sick. 69, dudes! Yeah, I'll have like a tiny little dip into sad mode for just a sec. But, sadly, my mom never made it. Like, she died in her 60s. But we would always quote a bunch of movie stuff to each other. Like movies that we both watched together when I was little, like, of course, like the stuff like Men in Black, the Ghostbusters movies, the Back to the Future movies, like the first Mummy with Brendan Fraser. But one of the movies we'd watch over and over on repeat together was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So whenever anything came up with the number 69, we'd both turn to each other and be like, 69, dudes! And I was always so sad. I mean, I'm obviously sad that she passed away, but I really wanted to do something special for her 69th birthday. Partially for the memes, but, you know, just like... there was just this running thing with her family, and even though pretty much everybody on, like, her side of her family and stuff are physically healthy, everybody was a bunch of workaholics and nobody made it to 70. And it breaks my heart that she didn't either. Because she made me, like, when her health was fading and she kind of knew she didn't have long left, she made me promise that I would take better care of myself. And I mean, like, I hate that, you know, in a lot of December, I only did like 1 or 2 streams a week, but I think about a lot about that promise. Because I want to be able to, you know, 30-something years from now, be able to make those 67 and 64 and 69 jokes when I'm that old.
It's a great night for fishing. We should get a paddle going. I'll be fishing on Route 42. Swim by if you have the time. Well, I'll be seeing you.
I used to fall into iPad kids is the new problem. But when I think about it in my own childhood, adults said the same thing about the DS. Yeah. Because that's one thing I'm lucky about is my mom was ahead of the curve on a lot of stuff, but she also wasn't dismissive of things just because they weren't something she had growing up. Which is something I'm very fortunate about because, like, I remember when I was little, you know, people would be like, oh, you know, your child is so well behaved. And the thing is, my mom would have me bring a backpack with a coloring book and pencils and a bunch of crayons and a little thing of notebook paper, so if I wanted to write or color or draw, I could just pull it out and do that. And then when I got older, like a little bit older, she'd have like a backpack of like books and comics. And then when I got a little bit older than that, I had a Game Boy. And then, you know, by the time I was an adult, I had a phone and stuff, and honestly, even as an adult, was still carrying a DS everywhere with me. Because I'm just like that trademark. My mom was similar, like, she never understood games and why it's enjoyable, but she understood it was important to me and my brother. Also saw how much we enjoyed it, never saw her talk down about it. That's good, I'm really glad for that, honestly. Because that's something I try to be open about, is like, even if, like, I, for example, could not give a single toss about any sports, but I also won't, like, talk shit about people getting super excited about their team or whatever, making it to this thing or winning this or that game. Because, like, hey, it's cool that they're that happy and passionate and excited about something. To her, games stopped risks of kidnapping since she was able to watch over us. She preferred kids playing video games, kinda. Yeah. Because I remember, once again, you know, similarly, my mom talking to other adults, like, in her age range with kids and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I was, like, sitting in a Walmart shopping cart reading probably a Sonic the Hedgehog Archie comic. And, you know, some lady was like, oh, are you okay with your kid? They're just reading comic books. And I was like, hey, my kid's reading. Because my mom was smart. She kept Nintendo Powers and Game Pros and EGMs in the house all the time. Because I would pick it and I'd just read them cover to cover. And I'd memorize all the video game stuff because, like, I had a really hard time reading novels because of dyslexia, ADHD, executive dysfunction. But for some reason, you put a video game magazine in front of me and I overcome all of that. And I just sucked up every single little bit. Which, like, retrospectively, that basically video games are the thing that, like, young me found as, like, the special interest. But again, like, even in the 90s into the 2000s, mental health stuff like that wasn't really as discussed or known about. What am I doing? I'm tired. I'm also sitting here like, wow, I'm really hungry. I realize I have been streaming for 3 hours. I meant to do a short stream today. Oops. Parenting and technology can be hard. I think I'm gonna head out in a bit. Well, actually, 7th, if you want to hang out for like another 3 or 4 minutes, I'm gonna wrap up the stream right now anyway, because it's 10:30 and I'm tired, I'm hungry, I need to make myself some dinner, because I didn't eat much before. I ended up like taking a nap after I got home from work instead of making dinner. Oops, don't do that. Don't do that, kids, please eat. But I think I will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming and hanging out with me while I play some Crystal. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Sunday afternoon, or I guess your Monday morning for you, Neko. Yeah, I know I usually have a longer chat at the end of the stream, but the tired is fast overcoming me, so I do believe I will just say good night, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and goodbye. Have a good one. Bye.